So, good morning, everyone, and good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais. VC sir, Shri Ajay Bhushan sir, Registrar sir, Sitesh Sinha sir, and our eminent speaker, Dr. Anjali Dalal.
Ladies and gentlemen, master craftsmen, master information warrior, strategists and planners who have, in the ancient times, changed the perception of leaders. And how did they do it? Well, they decided what content and information to give to the leaders or what to withhold from the leaders. It was not for malefied purposes, but it was to make sure that the leaders believed what the strategists wanted them to believe. So that is the power of content creation, and that is the power of persuasive perception management. And this is a very powerful tool which has been used from ancient times in the craft of war, information warfare, and state running. You, as educators, can do the same. What these people have done, धारणा प्रबंधन करते हुए इन्होंने तो वरिष्ठ नेताओं की राय ही बदल दी और यह सुनिश्चित करने का अभ्यास किया कि जो आप संदेश देना चाहते हैं वो संदेश वरिष्ठ अधिकारियों तक वैसा ही पहुंचे. इन्होंने ये किया. And the same powerful tool of perception management can be used to create a very, very powerful content by your hands. The power is in your hands. Ladies and gentlemen, my learned friends, you are the teachers and the shapers of the minds of students. You have the power in your hand to create such a powerful, persuasive content that you can change the entire belief system of your students. You can educate, inform, and absolutely motivate them into the direction that you choose. You are the Jambans to Hanumanji. You are Shri Krishna to Arjun. You are Clausewitz to the ancient Prussian king, King Frederick. So that is the power of content creation. Content is not just about some flowery language or some snazzy and glamorous images. This is what is perception management. Whatever you see as educators, you can change the perception. It has two effects. One, to change and affect the emotions of your students. And secondly, to help them make decisions, logical reasoning. And after that, how would you do it? And what is the effect? You can tailor your content according to the needs and the desires of your students. And as a result, what do you become? Thought leaders in your chosen fields of knowledge. And that brings me to today's topic. So, ladies and gentlemen, you will bear with me till about 4 o'clock, and I am going to speak on mastering the art of content creation. I'm Anjali. So first, let me just tell you that how I'm going to run the entire talk. Since I'm not confused and about my topic, I have not put it in a tabular form, put 1, 2, 3, 4. I have put it in chunks. So the lunch hour first, and we see what happens before the lunch hour. We have an activity, we have content writing, planning, QER, plagiarism, reversal tools. And after we come back with our lazeez bhojan in our bellies, then we have activity 2 and activity 3. Then there's this session 2, Bloom's taxonomy and self-learning materials, images, and of course, to wind up, we understand what is the recap or the takeaways that you have taken. So let's start with an activity first. Divide all the audience into two parts. If you want to switch sides with your friends, you may do that. Or maybe we can just have team A and team B here. Okay, you are happy being there? Can I have one leader from each team, please? So the rule is, and this side also the leader, please chayan kar lijiye apne leaders ka. Thank you. So, डमशराज जैसे आपने कभी स्कूल में बचपन में खेला होगा, चलिए मैं रिवाइज करवा देती हूँ. We have 2 teams and I have a bag which is full of some slips. ये सारी slips में content writing vocabulary है. अब हम मैम से रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे कि वो एक स्लिप निकालेंगी, अपने टीम के पास जाएंगी एंड आप लोगों को यहाँ इनैक्ट करना है जो इस स्लिप में लिखा है, और दूसरी टीम बी उसी चीज़ को डिकोड करेंगे कि वो क्या लिखा है. So once that is done, we will naturally clap for the brave souls who have come and enacted it. And later on, we will do the same with team B also. So ma'am, please have a seat. After this. Team B, ma'am, can you please come? आप भी अपना टीम के लिए ले लीजिए.
First character, elephant. Letter E. First is E. Digital economics. Econ. Digital growth. Excellent. Thank you. Very well done. Now team B, please.
Very, very participative and enthusiastic audience. Thank you all. So here we have an example, a perfect example of how corporates have managed perception. The content that you see content is everywhere. Even the water bottle that you have in front of you has got some words written on it. That is content. How you need to know, how do you make a choice in the market? Maybe iPhone is better for you, maybe Samsung is better for somebody else. But how? How does that come? It comes with content, with the words. How persuasively you put out your message is the content. So once we tailor our content, this is the end result that we are looking at. You must tailor it according to the audience, target audience. So Amazon, Netflix, and Spotify, these three examples, these are the people who have completely mastered content creation according to their customers. You may have seen in your phones how Spotify will consistently play those songs which you liked first on opening it. So this happens only because they're trying to tailor it according to your choices so that you are there with them, you are engaged with them. Same for Netflix and Amazon. And now what about Starbucks, Apple, and Airbnb? What do you think that they have done? Branding, but what kind of branding? Branding even the other group has done. Exactly. And they have done this by roping in satisfied customers, interviews, their blogs, they have used user-generated content. You may have noticed that when iPhone releases something new, you find on big hoardings, I'm not sure about Bhopal, but definitely in bigger cities, you'll find it relentlessly playing everywhere. People who are using the new phone, they are common people like us. They're the ones who shoot and put it up. Their pictures are put up. Their interviews, user-generated content. So now, what has, that is the second strategy. So what happens? You become a thought leader. You become a very powerful person who has got the entire knowledge and expertise in your own subject. This is how they do it. Okay, so let us have the participation from our dear audience. What is content creation? Can you just quickly give a few words so that we can string it together? What is it, according to your understanding? Content is a roadmap of words. It is words. It affects your emotions and also affects your reasoning ability. So now we are here as educators to make sure that it is very persuasive, influencing. Many other characteristics are involved. I totally agree. So let us delve into it and see what else can we find out about it. So what exactly, how do we do it? We have to first plan it. Planning anything is important. Like we've seen the strategists of the ancient times, they have aced war information. They have been information warriors. Why? They were not really there on the field to fight, but they were information warriors. So this is what has to be done by content planning. That is the first foundation of your content. And then you pen it down. Then you begin to write your thoughts, whichever way you want to write. And I'm sure by now you're already established writers since you're teaching content. And then, of course, comes the publishing part. All of this is the what part. And let's see the why. Why do we have to do this? Because we need to have a bigger reach. Whatever content is stored in your head is not enough. You have, if you are an ace at a particular subject, as a physicist or a mathematician or a language person, well, I don't know about it. The world needs to know. Your students need to know. How do you do it? You have to write content that reaches the right audience, and it has to resonate with them. So it's about tailoring. As you saw that tailor's machine, you have to make it according to the needs and desires of and goals of your audience. And next is to retain that audience. So we are not talking about e-content today. I guess it's going to be shifted for tomorrow. But then whatever you write in print media, the SLMs that you will form, the books that you will write, or any other material you will write, Your basic idea has to be to retain your audience. Those students must come back to you and they must have this perception that you are the best in your subject, because you are. There is no deception about it. You are the best, but then how do you do it? You have to bring out extremely good quality content. Well, there are various types. You are all aware of it. We have video format, interactive, like quizzes, tests, etc., and PDFs, manuals, white papers, books, and text. We have this news, interviews, research. All this is text. Feedback, study, visual is infographic and slides. So, as an educator, I guess, the best is to have a mix of it all. How many of you specialize in any of these fields?
My content is not a writing content. Actually, I'm into, my channel is a cooking channel.
Great.
But whenever we are cooking also, we are speaking one language. So the one thing, content, like madam said, text, but it is not that written text. It is a text which we are speaking and which you are hearing. But in that case, it happens that it does not reach a larger audience if we are speaking in one particular language.
True.
So we are putting a content in another language so that other people can also understand. So that way, I am a content creator in that form. Otherwise, we have been, as a teacher, we have been using the slides also, some videos also, text also,
Correct.
and PDFs also.
Correct.
So that way, we are contributing in content.
Right. Thank you. CEO, this Bill Clinton, he wrote an essay in 1996, which was titled "Content is King." In 1996, he had this perception that with the right kind of high quality, credibility giving content, you can make a whole lot of money on the internet. So that is the power of content. So like ma'am said, that she only speaks, she doesn't write it on YouTube. But then those speech has to have a background or a foundation of words. So I'm sure you plan a lot before speaking everything that you do. So that is the power of content here. Now the delivery planning. Why? Why do we need a planning for delivery? So why can't we just write and give it to the university, okay, you publish it on your own? That doesn't happen because we need the best possible audience to read it. We want the best possible essence to be taken out of it. So this is why we have a strategy for it. So just like those strategies of ancient warfare, you need to have a strategy for your planning. The measurement. Now, just saying that this is going to be liked by my students or by the wider audience is not enough. Are you having some sort of an assessment in your mind where you can assess and measure how effective is your content? So we must think on those lines, because without measurement, the goals are going to be very fuzzy. SEO visibility. Most of you are aware of that. Search engine optimization. So the best possible keywords of that domain need to be there. And then audience engagement. Of course, if it is engaged audience, they come back to you for more, they interact, that is the best. So all these things have to go into making a strategy for your content once you have written it in rough. Efficient allocation of resources. So what are your resources? Your time, your money, and maybe some other holidays. When do you do it? All those are resources and they need to be planned. And strategic alignment. Once again, strategy comes into alignment. Your content must fulfill the desired goals and needs of your audience. Only then will it be successful, despite the fact that maybe you have a Nobel Prize in a particular topic. But if your student is not able to decode what you have written, if a 4-year-old is not able to understand what you're speaking, it is of no use. If you are not able to write it in such a way that an 8th class student is able to just go through it and understand, then content has failed, despite the fact that it may be having a whole lot of value in it. And of course, consistency and quality. It has to be high quality coming from you people who are the educators, who are at the top notch of a country. it has to have quality and consistency. We just cannot be appearing once and disappearing. We need to have some sort of a planning for it. And how do we do that? So the delivery of your content to the wider audience needs to have a strategy again. How do you do it? Evaluate. Once again, some assessment from your side needs to be there. If you have created content or if you have taught in a classroom, I'm sure you do have assessments. You need to see that. Rubrics have to be created for it. Content calendar. Without a calendar, you just get into the flow of life. And you get distracted by what is happening around you in the professional work, maybe the people at home, or maybe your pets, they need your attention, maybe the plants in your house need your attention, and then you've completely forgotten that extraordinary streak of inspiration that had come to your head the other day. So my strong suggestion is that make a calendar and really paste it where you see it every day. Maybe on your laptops, maybe on your study area, wherever. And you must see when am I going to forward the next content, whether it is written or e-form, blogs, or any other medium on the internet. So without consistency, your audience will drop, definitely. Content types, we have just seen. Internet has given us a whole lot of variety, and a lot of people have come up with such amazing platforms. We have so many things, right from podcasts till the regular blog, till writing, and SLM, a lot of things. Keyword search needs to be kept in mind, and of course the audience. As we know, that audience is very important for us. Without them, our content is of no use. And objectives. The learning objectives need to be kept in mind. So I would suggest you start backwards. When you create content, the learning objective should be there in the beginning. And what are you going to make the student learn? That should be the content. So now we have this fight over creation versus curation. So creation, we know, is original, high quality, because we have done it. We are the educators, and we believe that ours is the best. We have done it. And we have the freedom to choose the message. And of course, it has got a very unique value. It has got the stamp of you as Mr. or Miss or Doctor. And then, of course, content needs to be, even created content needs to be aligned according to audiences. What about curation? What do you think is curation? However, the first part is slightly erroneous. Curated content is not original content. Curated content is the content that you bring from everybody else. Any other person who has written a story, an image, a photograph, a poem, like ma'am has used her video content. So if I begin to start using that video content on my LinkedIn profile, that is curation. I did not make the video that ma'am has made. I have used ma'am's video to state a point. So that is curation. When we pick up content from any other creator and use it for our own selves. Of course, copyright rules, how to be taken care of, we will see that. So curated content is time-saving, definitely. If you are running out of great ideas, once in a while, curated contents. Have you seen retweet or repost? So that is the best example of curated content. The day you are feeling that it is your schedule, you see in your calendar, I should have written this, posted this. So your retweet or repost comes to aid, and that becomes curated content. It is time-saving. It is definitely a diverse perspective. Not everybody thinks alike. You will be having a very diverse view from whatever is mine. So now this gives a very exciting and a very different flavor to whatever is your content. But there are downsides. Downsides for original content is that it lacks diversity. Naturally, if we are thinking and we begin to feel that ours is the best, maybe we need a little relook, and we need to improve. So getting content from outside is a good idea. Now, curated content is not enough. We cannot just bank on curated content to establish ourselves as thought leaders and credible educators, because it has the risk of inaccuracy. You don't want to do that. Because in the end goal, the students are going to recognize it, or maybe any audience will know it. So what should be the perfect recipe? Any idea, any guesses? What should be the perfect recipe? Can you just give a broad percentage? Can anyone please think of a broad percentage, a recipe for created and curated content? How much should you curate? What percentage should you curate? Suppose you're writing a blog. So now, of course, the blog is yours, but if you put a diverse view, quote somebody else's, or give links of somebody else's content, it is curated. Created be 65%, curated be 25%, and syndicated should also be there, 10%. Now let's look at syndicated. Curated, of course, will be the backbone of your, created will be the backbone of your blog or your piece of written work. Curated is just like garnishing, something interesting you will bring in. And syndicated is when you have written your original work and you publish it on another medium, another platform, is syndicated content. Of course, it will come with a line at the bottom that this content was originally published in Forbes magazine by Dr. So-and-so in the year 2023. Published it in Forbes magazine in 23, you can bring that content also into your blog. That is syndicated. It is your own content, but you have brought it out. So this is how the value and the credibility of your content increases manifold. But definitely, it's all about mix and match. Whatever works for you may not really work for me, which is the open educational resources. So can the audiences please throw some light on this? Can you please tell us something interesting about it? Most of you have already seen it on the internet. Whenever we open up the internet for doing some research, we have these. What is it? It is reuse, remix, revise whatever content is there, retain, or redistribute. Can somebody please give us an example of what you may have done recently? Yes, please, this gentleman at the back who was raising his hand.
More things in that particular journal and revise the things which the team have done. And these things can also be incorporated, like the term revise that you have mentioned.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to share something else to bring out some other point in this? Okay. So here most of us have understood that this is what open educational resources do. They are freely available on the internet, and when we do our own research, we definitely go to the net and find out, because now we are so blessed in this age that we are not limited to the confines of a library. When I did my PhDs donkeys years ago, I went to Hyderabad library for a couple of days, and then Delhi University and several other places like this. Somebody told me some other place in Jaipur is great for my topic, so of course I rushed there for a couple of days. So it wasn't easy. Now at the click of the button, you get this. But now what to do with this content? We need to see, is it open or is it available freely? What have we done? I mean, as creators, we do have conscious. You are educators, I'm sure. If you create some extraordinary poem or a short story or maybe some great analysis of mathematics formula, you don't want somebody else to rip it from the internet and put on their own name and forward it. So we now look out for licenses. These open educational resources are the ones which are freely available, and there is a license mentioned at the bottom that these are Creative Commons, under Creative Commons, which is the most usually used common license. So if it is completely open to be used, then of course we take it Then certain times it is not to be used with your name. We have to respect the creator. So let's see, how do we do that? Oh yes, and like the gentleman here was mentioning about a PhD thesis. So who knows, you made the PhD thesis original first diagram, and finally it landed up into this, last. It could have improved and adapted into Portuguese, and then translated into Greek, and then finally adapted into Spanish, and some bright spark in the University of Cape Town published it under his own name. So that is quite possible. So what to do? How do you feel that whatever you are writing, your gold mine of real, original, high-quality content, how to safeguard that? So we have a few regulations by the governments. UNESCO talks about Creative Commons licenses. So these are the licenses. You'll find these pictures at the bottom. First picture is of a human. That means attrition. Means yes, give the attribution, give the credit to the author, and you use it. Next is NC, non-commercial. You can use it in your classroom to teach your students for academic purposes, but do not make a film or an advertisement out of it. They will say so. And of course, no derivatives means no remixing. Just use it the way the original author had said. An essay, share alike. Here once again, share alike. Do not do remixing. Give the credit. Well, these are the things, but most of the times where we go wrong is sometimes we do not know about these rules and regulations, and we just pick up randomly from there, and we have a pressing engagement. So tomorrow I have to give something to the VC, and of course he's going to hound me. So let me just quickly finish this job overnight, and I make a huge PPT stack, and early morning I give it. But well, the conscious needs to sit there, and Ma Saraswati is watching us, and we need to have the licenses in mind. So please do mention, and most restrictive is on to the left side, the red ones, and most accommodating are onto the right. Sometimes you even have a zero sign there. It means you can use it, it is open resource, you can use it the way you want to. The original author does not want any credit for it. So that's it. So even photographs that you take up from various sites are sometimes like this. And how do you get a Creative Commons license? Now that you have made a thesis on your specific subject of your choice, how do you ensure that once you put it into the internet, it will not get ripped like that previous gentleman did it? And from there it goes into various countries and becomes somebody else's thesis. How do you do it? It is very simple. Just go to www.creativecommons.org, and over there you'll find a small box of licenses. Tap that. The licenses will open, drop-down window, and whatever you want, there's a small questionnaire form there. Whatever kind of regulation you're looking at, you get it, and they will give you a code. You put it on your original thesis or your work of art or anything, your music, your play, anything of your this thing, and then publish it anywhere in the internet or maybe print. Yes, it may consider like this, though of course we see in a whole lot of Bollywood movies. In fact, in the mornings we see on 95.8, I guess, 98.5 FM, Gano Ke Cousin. I wonder if somebody has come across that. They've completely ripped the lyrics and the music from some other Ghana of some other country. And they've done it without having any conscience. So, of course, it's your wish how you want to be a devotee of Goddess Saraswati. That is my suggestion. We cannot just completely copy. We must adhere to the licenses, give them the credit. But as far as your own content is concerned, if you don't want to have a credit for it, it's great. It's very philanthropist of you to think so. But it's good to have a license since you have worked so hard. It is your original. And the zero last one says that you don't mind, you share it in public open domain. There is a site called Unsplash. I really like that site. There are several of those. They are royalty free and license free pictures. So those pictures can, you'll find that these photographers, some of them want the credit, some of them don't want the credit, but you're not charged money for it. So in that same way, it's good to have your license. If you want, that's your personal choice. Once again, just like Gano ke cousin example that I came up with, we really cannot make out the plagiarism. It is the human perception, human creativity finally, and your keen intelligence to make out the difference. However, there are certain tools like Turnitin, Grammarly, and PlagScan, Viper, Unicheck, etc. These do work. You can put up the document of the student and give it to them on their site, and they will check it from the huge database that they have. But there are features. Basics are free. After that, there are pricing, then target audience, and of course, that makes a difference. But these sites that I found out, these are the ones which educational institutes generally use. So they may be helpful for you. Now, plagiarism reversal tool. Once again, these reversal tools are actually paraphrasing. You can just give it to them, put the document, and they will paraphrase it. They will not put a very new or a excellent, bright idea into it. Whatever is there, for example, a quote by Toni Morrison or Michael Anglio or anybody else, Maya Angelou ma'am mentioned in the beginning. You just give it to them and tell them to write. Even GPT does that. They will reverse it in such a way that they will paraphrase it. There isn't really any reversal. Once again, your own human brain of 1.3 kgs that we own, that is the asset that you have. So that is the only way in which you can make out. And as far as students are concerned, my experience is that over a period of time when you begin to read somebody's content, even on internet, when you are following someone and you read their content over a period of time, they betray themselves suddenly. Suddenly the content is very bad, the language is all messed up. Then you get to know that they've probably hired a professional, or maybe they've ripped it from someone else and put it there. So this is the only way I feel that you can do it. You have to use your own human perception to see. Is there any experience of the audiences here about plagiarism tools or reversal paraphrasing tools? Would you like to say something, please?
So my PhD is on this only.
Okay.
English Hindi text we use, and that also on news articles.
Okay.
How it comes in English and how the others are using it. So different paraphrasing methods are there.
Right.
That is also that we have studied.
And
Into detail.
totally frightening, absolutely frightening. And I mean,
And we have devised also some. So how it can be caught, whether it has been paraphrased
okay.
or not.
Okay,
Because
great.
that is also, like once from one language if you are translating it
Yeah.
to another. So nobody can make out that it has been translated from there. So how we can detect that it has been translated from another language to this language, so that we have studied.
Great, great, ma'am. Because I have not come across this, sir, because they finally have created an app and a program. They want to earn money out of it, so they will lure you into basic features first. And finally, once you realize that basic features will do only basic work, and forgetting, I'm not aware of this. As of now, I've not seen any of this, because finally, detection is only as your own self. Like if you're continuously reading somebody's text, content, or continuously reading a student's work, only then do you get to know when there are lapses. And lapses do happen. Maybe their payment issues are there or some other things, and then they come up with their they betray themselves easily. That is, the exposure also comes easily. So there, of course, nothing can match our own creativity. बच्चे बोलते हैं कि उनको सब समझ आ गया, I've got it. लेकिन एग्ज़ाम में जाने के बाद जब आप उनका रिज़ल्ट देखते हैं, वही बच्चे जो कह रहे थे उनको समझ आ गया है, दे हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड। कैसे हो सकता है ये ऐसे? आपने तो पूरा एनालिसिस लगाया था, ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी तो आपको बहुत अच्छे से आती है, आपने लगाया ही था, वो असेसमेंट क्रिएट ऐसे ही की थी इराकियल मैनर में। देन हाउ डिड दिस हैपन कि बच्चों को समझ नहीं आया, और मे बी सम ऑफ देम डिड नॉट परफॉर्म वेल? एनी थॉट्स ऑन दिस?
ड्यूरिंग एग्ज़ाम प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड भी माइंड करता है। अगर उस स्टूडेंट का माइंड उस समय वो कैच नहीं कर पा रहा है क्वेश्चन, तो वो आंसर सही नहीं देता है। आफ्टर सम टाइम वो क्लास के बाहर निकलता है तो अरे ये तो मुझे पता था। कई बार ऐसा होता है।
मैम, और कोई एनीबडी एल्स जो कोई प्रॉब्लम्स ऐसे फेस करते हैं? ऑडियंसेस, आई एम श्योर यू आर रेडी टू गो फॉर अ लजीज खाना,
ऐसा भी होता है।
बट थोड़ा सा इनपुट दीजिएगा प्लीज, ऑल दोज हु आर सिटिंग देयर एट द बैक। जी मैम। हाँ जी।
कई बार मैडम ऐसा भी होता है कि फियर जो होता है, लाइक सपोज हमने बोला कि हम तो समझ गए,
Right.
हम कैसे समझाएं, हम कैसे बताएं कि हमने नहीं समझा। मैं तो उन सबके बीच में मूर्ख साबित होंगी, तो मैंने भी कह दिया मैं भी समझ गई।
Exactly.
I have not understood that.
Correct.
So that becomes the reason for my failure in examination, for my not writing anything about that in the examination, because that was something I did to save myself from others, कि लोग मुझे समझे कि हाँ ये भी समझदार है, इसने भी समझ लिया। Most of the students
Exactly. So we have
all kinds of students.
प्रेजेंस ऑफ माइंड, पीयर प्रेशर, उसमें भी हम रह जाते हैं, बच्चा लिख नहीं पाता है। एनीथिंग एल्स मैम, वुड यू लाइक टू कंट्रीब्यूट?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, although I'm not from the academic side, but still what I am observing कि जब से हमने NEP स्पेशली हमने फोकस किया है, तब से ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी को पे भी फोकस किया जा रहा है, जिसमें हम कोर्स आउटकम की बात करते हैं और हम बच्चे की क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग की बात करते हैं, उसकी वैसी स्किल्स डेवलप, होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं। तो हमने फिर क्रेडिट्स को भी इसी हिसाब से डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया कि बच्चा केवल एक एग्ज़ाम के बेसिस पे नहीं, उसके लेक्चर्स को वैसे डिज़ाइन किया जाता है, उसकी विजिट्स कराई जाती है, प्रेजेंटेशंस करवाए जाते हैं। तो शायद क्लासरूम टीचिंग इतनी बाउंडेड थी कि वो बच्चा पढ़ के उतना लोड नहीं ले पाता था कि सब्जेक्ट्स चेंज हो रहे हैं, वो स्किप कर गया माइंड से। बट ये जितने भी इनिशिएटिव्स लिए जा रहे हैं, मे बी वो इसीलिए लिए जा रहे हैं कि एट द एंड वो जो फाइनल प्रोडक्ट है वो क्वालिटेटिव है।
हमारा जो असेसमेंट का तरीका, वे ऑफ असेसमेंट, आई थिंक इस KSA बेस्ड होना चाहिए, कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड होना चाहिए, नॉलेज, स्किल एंड एप्टीट्यूड। अगर हम स्टूडेंट का तीनों बेसिस पे असेसमेंट करेंगे तो डेफिनेटली वो एग्ज़ाम में भी अच्छा परफॉर्म करेगा और आगे भी उसको फ्यूचर में भी उसको एग्जाम्पल से हम समझाएंगे तो आगे भी उसको मेमोराइज रहेगा।
Okay. So great. So memory, you said memory is important.
यस मैम।
KRA.
Yes.
आपका है।
KSA.
हाँ जी, KSA. Memory is important. हाँ जी।
मैम, जो पहले सिस्टम था, लाइक उसमें टीचर सेंट्रिक थी जो सिस्टम था। नाउ इट इज़ कमिंग टू द स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक। तो क्लासरूम्स में जो स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक है वो उसका इम्प्लीमेंटेशन मतलब ऑनेस्टली होना चाहिए, क्योंकि आज भी वही चीज़ है कि टीचर जाता है, अपना लेक्चर प्रिपेयर करता है और जो उसको जितना उसको समझाना है उतना ही वो अपना 50 मिनट्स के उस ड्यूरेशन में, 40 मिनट्स के ड्यूरेशन में कवर करके आता है। तो उसका कुछ राइट नहीं है, लेफ़्ट नहीं है, मतलब स्टूडेंट का लेवल सबका अपना अपना है, तरीका अपना अपना है समझने का। दैट पार्ट इज़ मिसिंग समटाइम्स, क्योंकि कुछ ब्रिलियंट होते हैं जो मतलब एक ही थ्रो में ग्रैप कर लेते हैं चीज़ को, बट कुछ बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो उस चीज़ को नहीं ग्रैप कर पा रहे बिकॉज ऑफ सम लाइक लैंग्वेज इशू, या उनका वो उतना लेवल नहीं है, या पास्ट में उनको वो चीज़ नहीं उन्होंने गेन की है। तो आई थिंक स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक चीज़ें जो होती हैं वो प्रॉपरली इम्प्लीमेंट हो। टीचर की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि वो 1-on-1 इस चीज़ को कम से कम देखे कि सारे बच्चे उसको कोप अप कर रहे हैं कि नहीं उस लेवल को, कि हम एकदम डायरेक्टली उसको एकदम हायर लेवल की चीज़ें ना बताना शुरू कर दें, एकदम टेक्निकल चीज़ें, वर्ड्स ऐसे आ रहे हैं कि उसको सब बाउंस बैक हो रहा है। तो हमको सबसे पहले तो रियल लाइफ एग्जाम्पल से या एकदम लेमैन भाषा में उसे समझाओ कि भाई ये चीज़ है, होती है ये, इधर से फिर हम उसको थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल लेवल पे ले जाएं, फिर उसको अपर लेवल पे ले जाएं। तो एक ये अप्रोच रखी जा सकती है कि स्टूडेंट सेंट्रिक रहें, साथ ही साथ रियल लाइफ एग्जाम्पल्स जो डेली लाइफ में हम देखते हैं या उस क्लासरूम में परफॉर्म करा के दिखा सकते हैं वो होना चाहिए। क्योंकि यूट्यूब पे भी हम देखते हैं कि आज ऐसे ऐसे टीचर्स हैं जिनके मिलियंस ऑफ फॉलोअर्स हैं, वो सिर्फ इसीलिए हैं क्योंकि वो अपनी क्लास में लाइव एक्सपेरिमेंट्स दिखाते हैं और बच्चे उसको बिल्कुल मतलब जब हम किसी चीज़ को देख लेते हैं प्रैक्टिकली होते हुए और फिर हम उसका थ्योरी पढ़ते हैं तो वो एकदम हैंड्स ऑन हो जाता है कि आप कभी भी उनसे पूछो तो वो दे आर रेडी फॉर इट। तो इस तरीके से मे बी चेंजेस आने चाहिए क्योंकि प्रैक्टिकली जितना होगा उतना ही हम अंडरस्टैंड करेंगे।
I want to say that if I want to teach B and student have knowledge of A, but every student doesn't have a knowledge of A, right? Somewhat up and down. So before starting B, we must revise the previous one, even the few know and few doesn't know. Then we must start the lecture so that everybody can recall.
So previous knowledge and recalling is important according to ma'am here.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
My observation is that when we engage the student while in the teaching learning process, it can be happened. So I was just discussing with ma'am that when I am in the class, when I am not able to understand in the class, but when I going to appear in the examination, I will understand at that time and I will able to answer it. So the purpose of giving this example is that while appearing in the examination, I was completely engaged in the question answer process.
Right.
That's why I was able to relate all the learnings wherever it came from. That's why I was able to answer. And similarly, while in a classroom, a teacher is teaching, if students is somehow and the teacher is able to somehow manage and engage the students, this learning process will be going to be happen in a proper way.
Okay.
So that is my point. That is engagement is required, whether in any form.
Great. So that's excellent. Another point. Is there anybody else who would like to contribute? Yes, sir, please.
नमस्ते।
जी, नमस्ते।
कुछ सब्जेक्ट ऐसे होते हैं या कुछ बिंदु ऐसे होते हैं कि विद्यार्थियों को उनका व्याख्यान दिया जाए तो वो बहुत शीघ्र ही उसको समझ जाए। जैसे कि मैं 10th क्लास या 9th क्लास में बात करूं कि वहाँ पर होता है कि पेट्रोल क्या है, तो वहाँ पर इस प्रकार का था कि पेट्रोल हरा होता है, कुछ नीला होता है, ज्वलनशील पदार्थ होता है। तो इस प्रकार के विद्यार्थी तो समझ जाते हैं इस बात को, हाई लेवल पर भी इस बात को, लेकिन जब उसको उसी पुस्तक की लैंग्वेज, जो बुक की लैंग्वेज है, उसके आधार पर उसको पूछा जाए तो वो नहीं बता पाता।
करेक्ट। तो आपका मतलब है कि बुक की लैंग्वेज, पुस्तक का कंटेंट बहुत कठिन है।
हाँ, कंटेंट कठिन है। उसके बाद ये है कि कुछ वस्तुएं या बिंदु ऐसे होते हैं, सूत्र ऐसे होते हैं अध्ययन में कि उनको याद करना अति अनिवार्य होता है। उनको याद और वो बिना अभ्यास के नहीं आ सकता। आप कक्षा में विद्यार्थी को कितने ही अच्छे तरीके से उसको बोध करा दें, लेकिन वो द्वितीय बार तृतीय बार उस बिंदु को ना पढ़े, उसको रिवाइज ना करे, तो उसको वो नहीं आएगा। किसी के भी साथ इसी प्रकार की पद्धति होती है समझने की।
राइट।
हमारे यहाँ 4 प्रकार के सोपान बताए गए हैं: अदिति, बोध, आचरण, प्रचारण। अदिति में विद्यार्थी काल में स्वयं पढ़ता है, उसी काल में उस बिंदु को अच्छे से जानने के लिए चिंतन करता है, स्वयं से समझता है और पुस्तकों का जो है वो उसमें सहायक लेता है। फिर है आचरण, कि अब जो उसने पढ़ा है उसको वो उसने कहाँ कहाँ पर घटित करेगा स्वयं में, वो नवीन बिंदु देखे कि जहाँ पर वो घटित करे उसके लिए। फिर है प्रचारण, कि वो जो है विद्यार्थी को इस प्रकार का अवसर भी प्रदान किया जाए कि वो उसको किस प्रकार से दूसरों को सिखा सकता है। यदि ये 4 स्टेप उसके जीवन काल में आते हैं, उसके पाठ्यक्रम में आते हैं, उसको इस प्रकार से बोध कराया जाता है, तो निश्चित रूप से विद्यार्थी बहुत अच्छे से उसको समझ सकता है और अचीव कर सकता है, वो अच्छे से अच्छा आपको परफॉर्मेंस कर सकता है। मैं ये मानता हूँ।
एक्सीलेंट, थैंक यू फॉर दिस। ओके, सॉरी। हाँ, एग्जैक्टली, क्यूडोज। So what I have understood is this: it is a cognitive pyramid and it goes from the bottom till up, and this is according to the cognitive rigor. The concept that you have to explain should be according to the cognitive rigor, and that is how the Bloom's taxonomy is based. So we'll just see it. Remember, everybody thinks that सिर्फ याद कर लिया इतना काफ़ी होगा. Remember will be, you should be able to recall. Recall कैसे करेंगे? Basic concepts हैं, फिर भी recall नहीं हो रहे हैं. क्यों? तो let's check out that. Understand. और understand is again a very broad and a fuzzy term. Understanding में उसको समझ ही नहीं आया student को, पर understand में क्या करना है उसे? Grasp and explore the meaning, अच्छे से उसे समझ आना चाहिए. Instruction material जो हम writing material अभी content create करते हैं और करेंगे आगे, SLMs create करेंगे हमारे students के लिए, that should aim at making the student understand it. Apply जो information हमने use किया है classroom में, student should be able to apply it to something. आपके problem के ऊपर application करके उसको solve करे, then he has reached the third level. So this remember to apply is lower level thinking. And upwards, analysis, evaluate and create is the utmost. That is the higher level thinking. Analyze में क्या करना है? वो कुछ connections बनाएंगे. आपने जो उनको सिखाया है, they should be able to relate it with many other examples of a different domain, not just the same domain. Evaluate means then after having making these connections, they should be able to take a decision and support the argument कि अब क्या करना है, how do you apply the information and make a decision, and in the end once the decision is done, then you create something new. That is creativity. Whatever given information you have given to the student, that information the student takes and creates something completely new. So let's take the example of this nimbu, lemon that I have placed here, this picture. And can we weave a story around this? How can you make the students understand the concept of what is a lemon? Through Bloom's taxonomy. Can we pitch into this conversation, please? So looking at remember, first level is remember. Okay, I'll give you my opinion on this, and I'll say that I introduced lemon, nimbu in the class, and I tell them some basic useless facts. They are totally useless. How do I know what to do with the lemon? Lemon is bitter, it is sour in taste, it is yellow in color, and the shape I said is round. So now, how do you want the student to understand it? So moving upwards, how do we apply this information? ये जो अभी हमें समझ आया है, lemon is yellow, and we also can add that it loves sunlight. Lemon loves sunlight, it is yellow, round, and it is full of vitamin C. What do we do now with this application? क्या करें हम इस knowledge का? What do you want your students to do? आपने बस इतना सिखा दिया उनको, आगे क्या करें, वो अप्लाई कैसे करें? Would you like to?
Among other foods which are in the lemon,
Right.
according to the description and according to the things that we have said. First is that.
Great. That is an application that during your meal time you can use lemon. We could even use this entire knowledge we have gathered about lemon by boiling lemon in water, adding and then you use that concoction, add honey into it and give it to a sick person. So you have applied that knowledge. Okay, now we go to analysis stage. How would you do this analysis of lemon? You've understood that lemon is sour, inside is the pulp which can be used for food or for a drink. What do we do with analysis then? But how do we do analysis? Like sir was speaking, now we start comparing with others. Suppose we compare it with other fruits and we also compare it with, right, exactly. And we also compare it with bottled vitamins and the package wastage, carbon footprint that we are leaving by eating ready-made vitamin C, maybe that. So all this can be made into a table and it can be shown to the student, and the student can then start to analyze. Or maybe if he is of a higher order person, he will start to analyze in a tabular form. Now evaluate. Now what to do with this entire lovely information that we have? हाउ डू वी डू दिस? और हम लास्ट में हम उसके ऊपर जा रहे हैं कि हम एक कमर्शियल यूज़ करते हैं इसका, एक कैफ़े खोलते हैं जहाँ पर लेमनेड ही मिलता है सिर्फ. I am Anjali, so I have used awesome.
Marvelous Munmun.
Excellent.
Great Gaurav.
Lovely, Gaurav. Good to have you.
Perfect Parag.
King Kuber.
Royal Rajendra.
Raj, researcher.
Smart Shishir.
Precious Purnima.
Great.
Adventurous Aarti.
Ambitious Abhilash.
Loyal Lalit.
It was published in 1946. Most of you know about it. And ever since then, this classification of learning outcomes and objectives has gone on and on. And educational psychologists and other intellects have kept adding to it. This is the 2001 version. And it was recently, that is in 2000, it was revised. And in classrooms, a lot of educators are following this. So we have this amazing toolbox of Bloom's. And from here which is the backbone of teaching these days. So from here, we will now base all our talk on self-learning materials. This is the reason that we have mostly got together. How to create content which is going to be of use to our students. Content which is going to be widely circulated, and maybe you have attention and you have some loyal community followers. People on social media always know that consistency is important. Count of followers increases only with a very good quality content. So what is self-learning materials? So any material that can be used by a learner without a physical presence of a teacher is self-learning material. Because आज की दुनिया में आप लोगों का role as educator बहुत ज़्यादा change हो गया है. We are not just there like in the previous decades. As educators, we are not there to just stand there in human form, human Wikipedia, और हम सब कुछ बताते चले जाएं. बस one way traffic हो रहा है, हम knowledge disseminate कर रहे हैं और वो students को expect कर रहे हैं कि वो सब remember से लेके create तक पहुंच जाएं. So that since that doesn't happen, हमें एक अलग से तरीके से अपना knowledge को disseminate करना चाहिए so that that time is not wasted while you are in the classrooms. And that time can effectively be used for guiding the students, for helping them with their specific needs and target questions में आप उनको help कर सकते हैं. Or maybe you can help them with extra examples and extra case studies, those kind of things. So if your basic material is already ready and you have circulated it to the students, but जब हम start करते हैं अपना SLM बनाना, self-learning material, we must keep learning objective in mind. हमने जैसे Bloom's taxonomy में questions देखे and we looked into the conversation, what could be going wrong कि students को या audiences को समझ ही नहीं आ रहा. आपने समझा दिया that this is the phenomena of mathematics and maybe chemistry, valency or maybe literature, आपने समझा दिया. You are very sure. आपने जो ज्ञान दिया है वो बिल्कुल pure है और बिल्कुल सही है. Get tied up with the objectives, learning objectives. So सब कुछ हमारा start होता है learning objective, और learning objective is sitting on the sound foundation of Bloom's taxonomy. That is why Bloom's taxonomy comes into play. Now when we are doing these assessments and when we are writing anything, content, it should be in small little chunks. This is how you must tell your or plan your self-learning material. Visual should be full of graphics and pictures, and whatever be the medium of your content, script has to be written. Without the script, that is words के बिना आप बिल्कुल नहीं कर पाएंगे. Script जो होता है, even like ma'am is saying, she's made a channel, so वो definitely कोई words कहीं ना कहीं से कुछ थॉट प्रोसेस क्लियरली सोचती होंगी कि क्या रेसिपी है और क्वांटिफाई करती हैं कि अगर हम ये बोलेंगे तो उसका आंसर ये होगा. सो एवरीथिंग दैट यू मेक, ऑल दोज वर्ड्स दैट वी हैव सीन इन ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी हैव टू बी क्वांटिफाइड. क्रिएट कहीं पे क्वांटिफाई होना चाहिए. उस रिमेंबर क्वांटिफाई होना चाहिए. उसके लिए हमारे पास देयर इज़ अ होल लॉट ऑफ नाउन वर्ब्स विच आर प्रेजेंट ऑन द इंटरनेट. हम उन वर्ब्स को इनकी कैटेगरीज के अकॉर्डिंग यूज़ करके, कुछ वर्ब्स यहाँ पर भी हैं और ऐसे करेंगे. सो इन दैट केस it is measurable. The result is measurable. And of course self learning material का पूरा purpose ही ये है कि वो एक self paced study है. Like somebody was mentioning over lunch that IGNU makes excellent self learning materials. Absolutely, I'm going to come to it in the coming slides. We are also going to talk about storyboard because please sit, because my talk today in the purview of these many hours, I would not like to step into the shoes of the other gentleman. He won't like it, but he's going to lecture you tomorrow for it. But my purview is only for writing and writing script and print. So if we are talking about books or e-books also, or if we are talking about handouts that you might like to make for your students, definitely storyboard is an important tool. We are going to come to it. But according to what I understand is Bloom's taxonomy is the gold standard. That is the place where you should measure your outcomes and your assessment. Then next is a whole brain creativity or remembering or doing. So as you can see, creative intelligence is on one side, rational intelligence, operational, analytical, they are goal-driven, vision, results, people-driven, various kinds of intelligences. All of this has to come together in a cumulative way, and this is how memory gets into long term. This is the 7 plus minus rule. Plus minus 2, I guess, 2 got deleted over there. So please consider 2 after minus. Plus minus 2 rule. For any information to get into the audience's brain and get into long-term memory should be your goal as a content creator, or maybe creating your SLM. Now, how do you make it so interesting? How does it happen? We apply the 7 plus minus 2 rule. It means your content should broadly be divided into 7 or 5 or 9. 7 plus minus 2 means 9, from 5 to 9. Chunks. If it is in 5 to 9 chunks, going to long-term memory, it has to first pass through this number 15, as you can see, 12, 9, 3, and input chunks. On the right side, you can see the rightmost column is chunks. Chunks is the division of memory. Knowledge. Division of knowledge that you're giving to the student. The information that you're giving. Now we have divided our information in such a way that it goes in small segments or chunks, and the speed of information also needs to be regulated. Only then can you achieve your content to become evergreen and it can impact somebody's life being stored in their lifetime memory. So this is an aid to learning which we must look at. Chunk, it is a meaningful unit, 7 plus minus 2, which goes into short term, and next aid is subsumer, association anchors. What is a subsumer? Whatever you have learned, just the way we saw in Bloom's taxonomy or the pyramid, that the lower level is found only once, the upper level is found only once you have learnt the lower levels. The base level has to be understood first, only then can you go higher and higher. In that same way, when a new information is introduced to a student, there has to be some sort of a similarity, an analysis point that you must introduce beforehand. The previous course knowledge also, it is called, and that becomes an anchor for the new knowledge to come and get into the long-term memory of the student. And of course, another learning aid is concept map. This is a map of assessing all the subsumers, that is association-based content. And why are we discussing this? Because we want to break our SLM into these kind of units. We want to keep these parameters in mind so that our SLM is easily understood and retained by our students. Now, for example, the layout. This is just an example. You might differ and you might have a better idea than mine. If we go by the 1/3 rule, visuals, script and comment. This is how you must plan your book or updating or review, whatever that you may plan. But if you go by this, it's easier for the student to remember, for the target audience to remember. So see that if you divide it, only 1/3 is the script. The knowledge that you want to give is only 1/3 on that page. Rest of it is visuals. Like sir is talking about visuals, it's not just at kindergarten level. Visuals attract us even now. So if there's something very interesting, naturally you will, and that's the reason why those TikToks were so famous, and YouTube's shorts are so famous because of visuals. So each of these things should be divided into threes, 1/3 rule, and that turns out well. हम कंटेंट राइटिंग तो बहुत जानते हैं, अपने सब्जेक्ट के नॉलेज में बहुत धुरंधर है, लेकिन हम उसको शुरू कहाँ से करें? दिस इज़ हाउ वी स्टार्ट. रफ आइडियाज़ ऑल्सो नीड टू बी पुट डाउन हियर. यू नेवर नो, टुमारो यू माइट चेंज इट. आप एक और उस रफ आइडिया को किसी मेन आइडिया के साथ जोड़ सकें. सो ऑल दोज आइडियाज़ विच आर कमिंग टू यू in the Brahma Muhurat, like the gentleman over there was mentioning, that is I mean, yes, that also depends from person to person, but it works for me. I don't know how it works for you, but the most creative time for me is the mornings. So just sit down, think about hard enough about your content research, and फिर आप subject matter पे arrive कीजिए. और इसी तरीके से जैसे ये rough लिखा हुआ है, I would suggest just get down to it, because there is no final date, there is no perfect timing, there is no perfect information कि हम उसकी wait करें, and only then can we form our content. आपके पेपर में वो बिल्कुल फेल हो गए हैं और वो कैंटीन में जा रहे हैं. कैंटीन में जाके उन्होंने एक पूरे ग्रुप में गॉसिप सेशन चल रहा है और वो प्रोफेसर्स की बुराई कर रहे हैं और कुछ लोग सॉल्यूशन निकाल रहे हैं. सो लेट अस सी व्हाट इज़ योर सॉल्यूशन ऑफ योर ग्रुप.
तो और भाई क्या हाल चाल है?
सब बढ़िया.
तो कैसा रहा रिजल्ट भाई तुम्हारा? इधर आ जाओ भाई, बताओ.
फेल हो गए आप.
फेल हो गए? और अपना कैसा रहा?
अरे भाई कुछ मत पूछो, टूट गया मैं तो.
टूट गया?
टूट गया मैं तो.
और आप लोगों का
क्या सर, जैसा पढ़ाया वैसा ही रिजल्ट आया.
जैसा पढ़ाया या जैसा पढ़ा?
सर हम तो क्लासेस अटेंड करते हैं ना रोज, अब जैसा पढ़ाया वैसा हमने परफॉर्म कर दिया.
चलो कोई बात नहीं है, हम पीछे से टॉप किए हैं लेकिन तो जो भी है मतलब हमने तो पूरा मेहनत किया था अपना, हमें पता नहीं क्यों फेल हो गए.
सर इससे अच्छा तो हम बैंक वगैरह की कोचिंग कर लेते, कम से कम जॉब तो मिल जाती.
अच्छा.
यहाँ कैसे ऐसे चलेगा? टीचर बस क्लास लेते हैं, अटेंडेंस में 15-20 मिनट निकाल देते हैं, फिर वो किताब लेके बोलते हैं सर वो तो हम खुद ही पढ़ लेते हैं किताब लेके. टीचर का क्या करेंगे बताइए? ज्ञान कहाँ से मिलेगा हमको? किताब में लिखे हुए शब्दों से.
प्रैक्टिकली पढ़ाना चाहिए था ना, फ्लो चार्ट एंड ऑल से. बस थ्योरेटिकल पढ़ा के और बस टीचर निकल गए. अब क्या करेगा स्टूडेंट?
सही बोल रहा है भाई, ऊपर से नीचे तक ही गड़बड़ है.
गड़बड़ तो बहुत है. और पढ़ाने का टाइम आता है तो सर त्योहारों की बात करते हैं, समझ में ही नहीं आता है कि कहाँ से शुरू करें. और एग्ज़ाम टाइम में भी समय नहीं मिल पाता है कि हम अपना रिवीजन कर पाएँ. तो कैसे नंबर लाएंगे बताइए आप.
सही बात है. मेरे ख्याल से उनको पहले तो टॉपिक्स अच्छे से समझाना चाहिए था कि क्या टॉपिक पढ़ाना है. एक होता है कि भाई पढ़ना क्या है, उसमें पूरा एकदम इंटरेस्टिंग तरीके से पढ़ाएं, और एक होता है एग्ज़ाम में कैसे हमको स्कोर करना है. तो ये दोनों अप्रोच का उनको ध्यान रखना था. वो ज़्यादातर क्या करते हैं कि डॉक्यूमेंट के हिसाब से कोर्स कंप्लीट कर देते हैं. ऑन पेपर तो सब चीज़ कंप्लीट हो जाता है, लेकिन मतलब हमें कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं होता है. तो मेरे ख्याल से उनको नोट्स हमें क्लास में जब पढ़ाते हैं तो वहाँ पे उनको पूरा ऑब्जेक्टिव हमें समराइज़ करें, क्योंकि 40 मिनट में हम पूरा कोर्स नहीं कवर कर सकते हैं. तो उन्हें हमें ऐसा सपोर्ट देना होगा जिससे कि वो नोट्स हम ले जाकर घर में और ज़्यादा बेहतर ढंग से, बहुत सारे रेफरेंस मटेरियल्स हो गए, जैसे वीडियो लेक्चर होता है, कुछ अच्छे केस स्टडीज़ हमें दें असाइनमेंट्स में, हमें कुछ इंगेज करें, एक्सपोजर दें, इंडस्ट्रियल एक्सपोजर दें, जैसे कि हम उस चीज़ को जल्दी क्या उसे कहते हैं कि हम खुद से करेंगे तो जल्दी सीखते हैं, तो वैसा कुछ करना चाहिए था। ये सब मिसिंग था अपने सिस्टम में।
वही जो सब्जेक्ट था उसमें इंगेज करना चाहिए था। अगर हम डायरेक्टली थ्योरेटिकल तरीके से उसमें इंगेज नहीं हो रहे हैं तो प्रैक्टिकली कोई नॉलेज के थ्रू उस चीज़ में इंगेज कर सकते थे, तो शायद हमारा रिजल्ट बेटर होता।
तो क्या मतलब सर को पकड़ के मतलब शिकायत उकायत कर दे क्या?
अब आधे से ज़्यादा टाइम सर बाहर रखते हैं क्लास से मुझे, अब मैं क्या पढ़ूंगा, कैसे पास हूँ?
ये तो
हमारे साथ तो स्कैम हो गया। जो क्वेश्चन इंपॉर्टेंट दिए उसमें से कुछ क्वेश्चन आई नहीं, पेपर आउट ऑफ सिलेबस आ गया।
ये
ऐसे
कैसे
थोड़ी
है?
ना होता
ऐसा कैसा नहीं, वैसे
क्योंकि हम तो इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन ही पढ़ के गए थे ना सर,
कहाँ से
एग्जाम के
मिला?
एक रात पहले।
जो
ये
क्वेश्चन दिए थे सर हमने सारे याद किए थे।
अरे हम लोगों को तो कुछ नहीं मिला था।
सर
ये कैसे हो गया?
सर हमें पढ़ा रहे हैं सन 1981 की किताब से, अभी हम यहाँ फेल हो गए, आगे जाके मार्केट में क्या करेंगे? मतलब
वैसे
अभी यही फेल हो रहे हैं, किताबों में ही फेल हो जा रहे हैं, तो फिर आगे जाके हमारा क्या होगा सर? नौकरी कैसे लगेगी, जीवन कैसे चलेगा सर?
बात तो
बड़ी बड़ी दुविधा है सर।
हाँ, तो मेरे ख्याल से इस बार तो हमें अपने इस सेमेस्टर की फ़ीस वापस मांगनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमने तो पूरा पैसा दिया है, वो पढ़ाएं कम है, 10% ही पढ़ाए हैं, क्योंकि जितना मार्क्स आया उतना पैसा। तो मेरे ख्याल से चलो नेक्स्ट टाइम हम लोग ये सारे सुझाव टीचर्स को देते हैं, अपने टॉप मैनेजमेंट को भी देते हैं, क्योंकि प्रॉब्लम कहीं ना कहीं सब जगह रहती है। अगर ऊपर से गाइड ठीक से मिलेगा तो नीचे वाले ठीक काम करेंगे, अगर ऊपर से गड़बड़ होगा तो नीचे भी गड़बड़ होगा और सब जगह गड़बड़ होगा, और हम लोग बैठ के कैंटीन में यही करेंगे, समोसा मंगाओ।
हाँ, टीचर ट्रेनिंग का एक होना चाहिए।
नॉलेज रहे कि हाउ टू टीच।
चलो कोई नहीं ये भी इम्पोर्टेंट है, टीचर्स। हाँ सही बात है, मतलब कि बच्चों को सिखाने के लिए पहले शिक्षक को सीखना होगा।
बिल्कुल।
तो ये बढ़िया बात है। चलो ज़्यादा मायूस नहीं होना है। ये लो फूल कोई रख के यहाँ गया है, ले जाओ घर में मम्मी पापा को दे देना। चलो यार अब हो गया, मूड खराब है मेरा।
चलिए, सो वी हैव अ फ्यू पॉइंटर्स हियर, और आप ही के अमेजिंग रोल प्लेज में से हमको इतनी सारी पॉइंट्स मिले। वी गॉट टू नो कि टीचर्स हैव टू हैव ब्लूम्स टैक्सोनॉमी सिटिंग हियर इन द हेड, और उसके बिना तो टीचर्स असेसमेंट नहीं करेंगे। इट इज़ नॉट मेजरेबल, योर कंटेंट इज़ नॉट क्वान्टिफाइबल, इट इज़ नॉट गोइंग टू बी एबल टू गेट असेस्ड। सो जब आप अपना सेल्फ लर्निंग मटेरियल भी बनाएं, सो एवरी फ्यू पेजेस शुड हैव विजुअल्स, एंड जैसे हमने रूल ऑफ 3 देखा था, और उसके बाद में देयर शुड बी असेसमेंट्स, सेल्फ असेसमेंट फॉर स्टूडेंट्स टू डू, एंड इवन वेदर यू आर राइटिंग बुक्स ऑन दिस, देयर शुड डेफिनेटली बी एकेडमिक। अगर आपका सब्जेक्ट है बुक्स का, तो उसके पीछे ज़रूर आपकी असेसमेंट होनी चाहिए, एंड यू हैव टू कम अप विद योर क्वान्टिफाइबल, कि आप एक माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया की डेफिनेशन अगर कोई रट के सुना दे तो क्या आप उसको बेस्ट कहेंगे? या आप खुद एक बहुत बड़े फिजिसिस्ट हैं कि क्योंकि आपको फिज़िक्स न्यूटन्स लॉ बहुत अच्छे से पता है? इट्स मोर देन दैट, इट इज़ राइट फ्रॉम रिमेंबरिंग टू क्रिएटिंग. We do skim and scan. We do not read word for word or letter for letter. So आपका maximum content strategically placed इस तरीके से होना चाहिए, 1 से लेके 2, that is top left and extreme left vertical. यहाँ पर आपके आते हैं हेडलाइंस, बुलेट पॉइंट्स, टाइटल्स. सो जो सबसे ऊपर लिखा होगा आपका, दैट इज़ द कंटेंट विच शुड बी मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट. आपके पैराग्राफ में सबसे नीचे जो, जैसे हमने लॉन्ड्री वाला पैराग्राफ देखे थे, सो इट इज़ एक्सट्रीमली कन्फ्यूजिंग, एंड देयर इज़ंट एनी लाइन ब्रेक, लाइन डिविजन और चंक्स ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन को ब्रेक करके हमने कहीं नहीं लिखा. सो some people half a minute, some of them took 2 minutes, some of them were not yet ready after 2.5 minutes. वो कॉम्प्रीहेंड करने में टाइम लगेगा आपको, because it also depends upon the speed at which the information is coming to you. It also depends upon how fast you can read in a particular language. अगर हिंदी मेरे को पढ़नी पड़े तो मुझे तो बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम लगेगा, शायद 20 मिनट लग जाएंगे उस चीज़ को पढ़ने में, अगर आपको 2 मिनट लगेंगे. So it depends upon our own capabilities. But this is a foolproof if you would like to keep it in mind. So when you introduce a paragraph in your content, topmost should be the line that should declare the theme of that particular paragraph. One paragraph is equal to one idea. So if we go blindly on this, one paragraph is equal to one idea, it should still have this readability, skim and scan. Eyeball movement is going like this, 1 से लेके 2, फिर उसके बाद में नीचे 3, 4 और उसके बाद में डायरेक्टली नीचे 5 तक शायद पहुंच जाए. एंड में आप देखेंगे कि शायद नीचे. आप नोटिस करिएगा इवन ड्यूरिंग इवन इफ़ यू पीपल रीड न्यूज़पेपर, आपको 4 या 5 घंटे नहीं लगते उस न्यूज़पेपर को पढ़ने के लिए. आपके पास 30 मिनट्स है तो भी आप पढ़ सकते हैं पूरा ही, और अगर 13 मिनट्स है तो भी आपको लगेगा कि यस, गो थ्रू क्विकली एंड स्किम एंड स्कैन. जो इनिशियल फ्यू लाइंस हैं आप देखिएगा उसके अंदर इंफॉर्मेशन बहुत हैवी होती है, एंड नीचे एज वी कम टू द एफ शेप, टेपर्ड डाउन जैसे होते हैं, उसमें सिर्फ XYZ सेड दिस, एक्स इंटरव्यूज डिड दैट, वो बहुत ही अनइम्पॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन नीचे तक लिखा होता है, बिकॉज दे हैव ऑलरेडी मास्टर्ड दिस आर्ट. ओके, सो नाउ वी कम टू विच इज़ अबाउट इमेजेस. सो लेट मी आस्क यू, आपने इमेजेस कहाँ यूज़ की हैं रिसेंट पास्ट में कंटेंट क्रिएशन में, और कौन से वेबसाइट से की हैं, कैसे करते हैं इमेजेस? सो बेसिकली इमेजेस हैव टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट योर नरेशन और मे बी एनहांस योर नरेशन. अगर आपका सिर्फ एस्थेटिक रीज़न है एक इमेज को डालने के लिए कि मैं यहाँ पे 4-5 मंकीज़ बिठा देती हूँ क्योंकि monkeys are looking very cute over here, और maybe I'll put some flowers क्योंकि वो pink के साथ match हो रहे हैं flowers, that will be a distraction. आपकी image is also as important as the context of the text that we have just seen earlier on, the rule of 1/3. Rule of 1/3 incidentally applies to mostly everything in life. आप कभी ये सोच के देखिएगा, this is a food for thought for you. So आप ये देखिएगा कि this image has to have some value to enhance your content. या तो उसके बारे में एक्स्ट्राऑर्डिनरी क्रिएटिव तरीके से कुछ और बता रहा है जो टेक्स्ट नहीं बता पा रहा है, और अदरवाइज टू कॉम्प्लीमेंट द टेक्स्ट. सो दिस इज हाउ वी इनकॉर्पोरेट अ विजुअल और मे बी एन इमेज. there are a few principles of design. I wonder how many of you have thought about it. जब हम कोई चीज़ विजुअल्स पिक्चर्स रखते हैं, चाहे सोशल मीडिया में है या टेक्स्ट बुक्स में है, और मे बी इट इज़ इन योर SLMs, these are the things to be kept in mind. These are designs, elements of design. Proximity means if you put similar looking objects together in close contact, how will your image be? You will be able to enhance your point greater. Similar looking, 2 में डाल दिया आपने, number 2 में those cats are there or maybe the dogs, and first is proximity. आपने कितना close डाला है या कितना दूर डाला है, that also changes the perception of the image completely. Continuity, and of course for continuity, the previous pages, the next pages, and the kind of images you are using. For example, you are using AI generative images like ma'am is talking about in your textbook which is of 100 pages, और सडनली आपको याद आता है कि आपके पास तो एक बहुत ही अच्छी हैंड पेंटेड, एक बहुत नेशनल लेवल आर्टिस्ट की इमेज है इस टॉपिक के ऊपर. सो आपको लगता है नहीं ये तो डालनी पड़ेगी. हाउ विल इट बी कि मेरी सुपीरियॉरिटी ऑफ माई इंटेलेक्ट कैसे दिखेगी कि मेरे पास नेशनल लेवल के आर्टिस्ट की इमेज है, बट दैट विल कोलाइड विद द एंटायर थीम. यू हैव टू हैव कॉन्टीन्यूटी इन द सेंस, अगर आप ग्राफिक्स कर रहे हैं, सो माई सजेशन वुड बी कंटिन्यू विद ग्राफिक्स ओनली टिल द एंड. इफ़ यू आर डूइंग AI generative, continue with AI generative till the end. Or photographs, आप सिर्फ उसमें फोटोग्राफ्स, रियल फोटोग्राफ्स डाल रहे हैं तो उसी पे चलिएगा. क्लोजर इज हाउ क्लोज इज योर दिस थिंग इमेज टू द सब्जेक्ट, एंड उसमें कॉन्ट्रास्ट ऑफ स्पेसेस, क्लोजर में आप कॉन्ट्रास्ट ऑफ स्पेस भी देख पाएंगे. नाउ फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस, you meet this young lady, she's Emma Muir, CEO at Claus & Co. And she is currently responsible for driving female client strategy for wealth management. And here she shares her thoughts on leadership, what leadership means to her. So if I'm talking about this young lady, Emma Muir, I have written a small description under this. Because मैंने अपने blog पे या अपने पैम्फलेट पे या फिर अपने SLM में वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट की बात की है. सो वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट के लिए, लाइक वी सॉ इन द बिगिनिंग, थॉट लीडर्स आर इम्पॉर्टेंट. सो कोई एक पर्टिकुलर थॉट लीडर मुझे उस इंडस्ट्री से उनका इंटरव्यू चाहिए या उनके ओरिजिनल आइडियाज़ चाहिए. सो आई पिक्ड अप दिस यंग लेडी एमा म्यूअर, शी हैज़ कम, और इन्होंने वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट पे जो बात की है तो हमने उसके नीचे थोड़ा बहुत उनकी इंटरव्यू के बारे में लिखा. सो दिस इज़ रेलिवेंट. लेकिन सिर्फ इसको लिख के छोड़ना काफ़ी नहीं होगा. आप ये देखेंगे जहाँ पर ई स्पेसेस हैं, वेयर दिस जेंटलमैन विल टेल यू टुमारो, इंटरनेट के ऊपर देयर इज़ ऑलवेज अ स्पेसिफिक टेक्स्ट बॉक्स. इफ़ यू टैप इमेजेस, उसके नीचे आता है स्मॉल टेक्स्ट बॉक्स आता है, उसका डिस्क्रिप्शन आता है. इमेज जो आप लगाते हैं, there is a space for creating a description. If you don't write the description, you are wasting away your SEO visibility, search engine optimization visibility. आप उसको waste कर रहे हैं अगर आप उस पर ये नहीं लगाते. Now because my article और blog was on wealth management, और ये एक बहुत ही famous lady हैं, तो मैंने इनका नाम भी लिखा है एमा म्यूअर, और वेल्थ मैनेजमेंट मेरा कीवर्ड था वो भी लिखा है, और लीडरशिप इज़ ऑल्सो कीवर्ड. सो वो लीडरशिप भी इसमें है. सो देन इट्स वेरी ईजी फॉर समबडी टू फाइंड आउट अबाउट एमा पे रिसर्च कर रहे हैं तो आपका पॉपअप हो जाएगा आपका आर्टिकल. सो इमेजेस ऑल्सो हैव अ वर्बल एंड नॉन वर्बल लैंग्वेज टू देम. You have to understand and retain that there is words plus picture. जो images आप use करते हैं, the left and the right brain is totally engaged. So we are looking at whole brain learning in any case from students. So also it is giving you verbal and non-verbal, दोनों चीज़ें आपको सिखा रहा है visual. This also contributes to about 80% of our learning. So अब वो wealth management का बहुत ही टफ डाटास के अनुसार, और इस इंस्टीट्यूट ने ये बोला और उस टीचर ने ये बोला और उस प्रोफेसर ने ये बोला, ये सब आपने लिख दिया है. लेकिन आपने मिस एमा की फ़ोटो लगाते ही आपने बहुत सारे लोगों की नींद जगा दी और उनको बोला कि येस, यू आर कंपेलिंग देम टू रीड योर आर्टिकल बिकॉज मिस एमा इज़ सो चार्मिंग and all. So this is a whole brain learning, and images assist in whole brain learning, and this is what our ideal student SLM should be. So definitely with images there should be a title. Try to keep the title within 1 or 2 words only, or maybe a small line. अब depend करता है कि आप उस line को कहाँ पे use कर रहे हैं, कितना बड़ा आपका पेज है, प्रिंट में या ई मीडियम पे है तो वो कितनी बड़ी स्पेस है. सो जितना छोटा आपका टाइटल होगा इतना इफेक्टिव होगा एज फार एज इमेजेस इज कंसर्न्ड. देन देयर शुड बी अ स्टाइल, एज वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन. ग्राफिक्स अगर आप यूज़ कर रहे हैं, एनिमेटेड फोटोज यूज़ कर रहे हैं, तो वो स्टाइल कंसिस्टेंट रखिए एंड तक. इस्टेब्लिश योर स्टाइल फॉर योर कंटेंट. लेटरिंग शुड नॉट बी वेरी जैजी, बोल्ड, कन्फ्यूजिंग कि उसके नीचे से 3-3, 4-4 वो धमाकेदार कलर्स निकल रहे हैं. और वो दोज थिंग्स आर ओके, यू नो, फॉर अ डिफरेंट पर्पस. लाइक आप मैजिक शो दिखा रहे हैं बच्चों को और आपने एक छोटा सा एडवर्टाइजमेंट बनाया है, मैजिक मैजिक मैजिक, आइए आप मैजिक देखिए जादूगर की नगरी में. दैट इज़ एक्सपेक्टेड कि आप ऐसा वाला कोई पैम्फलेट बनाएं जिसमें से बहुत सारे रंग निकल रहे हैं, बहुत सारे एलिमेंट्स हैं. बट for an SLM, please try to keep your letters, bold, plain, and serif is the best, they say. Lowercase, it is also a scientific study that lowercase letters are the easiest and the fastest to read. So वो speed बढ़ जाती है reader की. And number of lines on one slide जो आप PPT में बना रहे हैं वो एक अलग हो गया, लेकिन अगर आप अपना SLM का कंटेंट में एक पेज में A4 साइज पेज में 9 लाइन्स से ज़्यादा मत लिखिएगा for description of your image. There should definitely be some emphasis on contrast and background, grouping, separation, integration. These are the design elements that you must see. Background is very important. जो आप background कर रहे हैं, that makes a huge impact on the image. This is AI generated, so it's thanks to ChatGPT. Licenses that we've already spoken about. Common creatives कॉमन की जो लाइसेंसेस हैं वो डेफिनेटली दीजिए. बहुत सारी जगह पे आपको वाटरमार्क नज़र आएगा इमेजेस पे, वो ज़रूर उनको अवॉइड करिए. And there are free sites like Unsplash where you get these free to use photographs also. And title characters must have keywords, otherwise आपकी searchability में बहुत low हो जाएगा आपका e-content. और same goes for material, print. So that brings me to the end of the session.
It needs at least 1 week to have a very good workshop, and it's have to be with multiple trainers and speakers. But overall, you have engaged all of us very perfectly. Thank you for that.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, all. Ma'am, my name is Purnima Singh Tomar, and I'm an instructional designer here. And talking about today's session, so the whole session represented in a very good manner, and each and every topic revolved around my work since I'm an instructional designer. So from creating and from analyzing a content to evaluate a content, I follow the whole process. So this is something which is very connecting and relevant to me. The one thing which I liked in this whole session is that the aids of learning, which is a chunking and 7+ rule, which is new to me. Even though I have noted it down that I have to explore it more. So that's it. And I have explored a lot of things in this session and from the audience as well, because each and every person comes with a new idea. तो वो भी हमें जानने को मिलता है. So that's it. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. Ma'am, today's lecture very fruitful for us and all of them, I think. And today we have learned how we can make a good content and very interactive, and how we can use the images, how we can use the example in our content and can be more interactive. And second thing is curation and creation. Both are different things. So today I have learned how we can differentiate both things.
The more you learn, the better you are. Elon Musk is a self-taught zillionaire or whatever, and he's one of those perfect examples where he is not knowledgeable in, he's not trained in his company, the finer aspects, but then he's a self-taught person. He's understood that. So if you want to be the top 1% in anything, you just have to keep on learning and keep on growing. So that 1 hour a day, if you can devote for yourself, that makes a huge difference. So choice is yours. चाहे आप उसको एक कोर्स के हिसाब से कर सकें या किताब पढ़ के अपने नॉलेज को एनहांस कर सकें. So that is your choice. And where you are talking about your Hindi writing, कविता लिखने की बात जो आप कह रहे हैं, वो you are in a flow, creative flow में आप आ जाते हैं. So I would suggest that it is really, really great. So जैसे हमने Blooms में देखा, you are at your top most level at that point of time. Cognitive rigor आपका maximum है. So I would encourage you to continuously keep exploring, and who knows, you are going to be one of those few Puraskrit people soon enough.
You all like the session from, it's clear from your feedback. So now we are coming to the end of the session, and I would like to thank all the management all the dignitaries of SGSU, VC sir, RNTU, with special thanks to Aditi ma'am. Last but not the least, thanks to all the participants for being so participative and interactive and keeping this session live. So thanks to everyone. And now I would request VC sir to present a memento to our esteemed guest. Ma'am, please.